Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gorgeous George Show. It is late at night, and we are here. We are here talking to you. Hello, hello, hello. Test one, test two. Test one, test two. Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Gorgeous George Show. Welcome to the Gorgeous George Show live and on your camera. And what is going on with this phone? We're going to be expecting a phone call coming in here at any moment. And we're going to talk. We're going to talk here. Our hair is, I don't know, hair is laying the way it is. It's all right. Anybody out there in Facebook land that wants to say hello, wants to talk, then so be it. We're going to get a phone call coming in here in a second, and we are going to talk. I don't know if this person is going to call me. The reason why we're doing this is because we're going to talk about some things. And while that person is about ready to call me or going to call me, we're going to talk about a casino that they're trying to build and fast in Richmond. It's a casino that they're trying to build. Oh, here we go. Here we go. All right, so we're going to accept this. Hello, hello, hello. Casey, are you there? Casey. Hello, sir. Hello. All right. Are you there, sir? I don't know why that's not working. All right. Well, then we're going to do something else. Casey, I cannot hear you. Can you hear me? All right. That's not good. That is not good at all. Here, hang tight. Casey, are you there? There, sir. Hello. All right. Well, I'm going to have to do it on the phone because we can't get it on the computer. I don't know what's going on. Casey, are you there, sir?
I am here, George.
All right. I don't know if you're picking up on the phone. We're going to put you right near the speaker to the computer. So what is going on in the West Coast?
What's that?
What is going on in the West Coast?
Oh, hey, George. It's, I tell you what, it's about 85 degrees, and the economy is roaring, and our boy Biden is winning.
Yes, he most certainly is. Yes, he most certainly is, and he's doing a lot of good, as we talked about. Joe Biden's doing a lot of good. So, I want you. I don't want you. You know, it's a kind of a slippery slope. I don't want to say much, but I want you to say how you know me and talk about what you've seen thus far. And if you're comfortable with doing that, let's go at it.
Well, sure. I got to know you, George, through all those prank calls. I don't know, was it in the 90s when it got to be famous, when all that was blowing up?
Well, I was in Focus in the '90s. I was starting my show in the '90s, but in the middle 2000, is when all the hoopla and all the paper hat crowd came out.
Well, I just remember seeing the show I guess in the 90s. It's hard to believe how time flies.
In the '90s, in the '90s.
Yeah, it must have been.
Well, no, because in the '90s we didn't put it. Of course, the computer wasn't. I mean, the internet was not really out and about. We didn't really get started on the internet until about 2002.
That must have been it then. You're right.
The '90s were pretty much, it was pre-PC. It was the best economy under Bill Clinton. We know we had spent 8 years under the best president of the United States, William Jefferson Clinton, and the best economy, and that was before the internet. Of course, we know that Gore invented the internet, and I'm not saying that jokingly. We know that Al Gore, a smart man that he is, invented the internet. That's right.
Absolutely, he did.
Yes. So.
No, but I was listening to you. I was listening to back in the. I was always a big prank phone call guy, and I would start using YouTube and looking up prank phone calls.
Okay.
And,
Right.
So,
Well,
I
go
got
ahead.
to know that.
Right. See, the thing about it is that was not what the preface of the show was about. Like I told you, it was about me and Kevin Kravitz doing a show on the Community Access channel, and we did it for a long, long time. Um, Hold on a second. What's going on here? Okay. I wish we could get this thing to be working a little bit better than what it's working,
Yeah.
but that's okay. People can hear you. People out there that are listening to this live feed, I know Casey can't tell, or maybe if your son has got it on another frequency, maybe he can tell. But anybody out there, can you all hear Casey? Please tell me if you can hear Casey. If you see the feed, let me know if you can see Casey. Of course, we had somebody looking, and then they just logged off, so that's no good. But I don't care about all that. They log back in, and I do it in my solitude. But anyway, um, we did the show out of our living room. What was done was done. We started in the living room, and then we progressed into a studio, and then we did a studio inside of a public access studio. They went through different dimensions, through Continental Cable, through AT&T broadband, through Comcast, and it changed every time the provider changed. They changed it over and over again. So it became eventually at the end it became Comcast. And what the public access channel did once it succumbed because it was a closed circuit, a closed studio. They finally back in 2019 moved it into a Richmond library. Don't ask me why. I don't see the need. I don't think that there's no point of having it in the library because it defeats the purpose of it being a closed circuit recording. We do it in a studio. We do it in a closed circuit studio. We transmit, and that's the best way it should have been done under privacy, under the privacy that we had. And so that being said, though, it went into other angles, and then of course it became when it hit to the library, these imbeciles would come to the library and try to steal it. They would try to come to the studio, as you're aware of what happened a few years ago, and they try to steal it and try to and of course that brouhaha in the library had happened. So Casey, you are aware of all this crap. What is your opinion about all this? You think it's prank phone calls, and it was an innocent thing at first about prank phone calls, but it became a little bit more out of the realm, right? It became a little bit more just too much BS. You agree?
Oh, yeah, I remember listening to those, and I know you always hate this, but I listen to that and I laugh because I consider you to be a good comeback artist. I think you're funny. I like even you're just a funny guy. Like you got good comebacks. Even on Facebook, just writing stuff, you write funny things. So I think you were funny on there, and it was almost like wrestling, the way it all seemed.
Babyface, K-face or babyface and heel, right? That's basically not what he was meant to be. Yeah.
As time went on, and I saw it was weird, like seeing that you had a presence on Facebook. Of course, Facebook allows you to connect with people, and I've actually made friends with people that I've known in the radio and other things. So I'm like, wow, there's that George guy. So it allowed us to get to know each other and become friends.
Well,
But,
I didn't really notice your response until 2018, and ironically, and you remember the question you had asked me in 2018. Recite that question with what you had asked me.
I wondered if I thought I had gotten, and I don't remember whether I thought it. I don't want to take credit for it, but I remember wondering if you were. I thought you were working on a book, or I thought you had said something on Facebook about a book.
Right.
And I feel like wasn't I asked about that, George?
Yes, in 2018, and I didn't know who you were. I looked at your profile. I said, it's probably a troll. And you have to understand that I get an overabundance amount of people that come at me, and I don't know if they're real or if they're trolls or whatever they are. But for the sake of the matter, that's how you knew me or how you got to know me
That's right.
through all of that other stuff. So to answer your question, yeah, I didn't think nothing of it, though I thought it was an interesting comment and an interesting question. And yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. I thought about 4 years ago about doing this. I thought about 4 years ago to do a book, nuts and bolts book about my life, about my life story, because I thought for sure it would attract people and it would get the people's attention. So yes, Virginia, there was a Santa Claus, and it actually finalized in 2020, right before the pandemic. In 2020, I decided, you know what, before we even knew, in January 2020, I started working on the book. And diligently, I finished it. I kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And I finished it around about March of this year. And now it's at the publisher, and now they're taking forever with it. But that's fine. However long it takes, they're taking forever in a year, but they're going through it because it's a big book. So that book is going to be my shield. It's going to be telling it the way it is and denouncing everything that these imbeciles are talking about.
Well, it will be. Certainly, I haven't seen it, of course, but I'm looking forward to it, and it will be the last word and the value of having a book. That's for sure.
Right. Well, that's the whole purpose of it. Everybody's done it. Anybody that's anybody has done their book. Anybody that has been a focal point, or anybody that has been a studio celebrity, and I don't consider myself a celebrity. I've said this over again, but anybody that has been a studio entertainer, or been an entertainer, or been somewhat in the public eye, eventually they write a book. And I think that not everybody you know writes a book. But now, ironically, this is right up your alley. This is what you do for a living. Is that correct?
Right.
Yes.
That's correct.
This is what you do for a living. You are a author.
That's right.
And you write books.
That's
So,
right.
but not many people, as you have said, that you've known in your circle was to ever decided to write a book about themselves or about whatever they were doing. Have you had, how many people that you know have written books other than yourself?
Not too many, and I've encouraged a few friends. I got a friend that wrote a book on real estate that did pretty well.
Right.
And but not as much about their own life, and that's certainly to be admired. I mean, I was excited for you, and I actually, to be honest, George, I was worried you weren't going to finish it because most people don't, and I don't know you that well, and as I got to know you, it takes a lot of dedication. So anybody who's listened to this, for him to finish that book as long as it is, that took a lot of effort. So I hope people buy it for no other reason. I mean, not for no other reason, but and one real good reason is it was a lot of work.
Well, yes, and it was a labor of love because I was able to go back in time, and there's some things I left out and some things that I kept in. Some things that I left out of the book were worthy of a mention. The things that I've highlighted in the book was definitely worth mentioning, and stuff that I couldn't even make up. Stuff in my life that I couldn't make up if I wanted to, and it's real stuff. And I even have a barometer from A to F in the end of the book. Not to give too much away in the book, but it talks about exactly what went on and had happened, and the people that have been in my life, that have entered in and out of my life, a barometer from A to F. And unfortunately, there are a lot of people that have left the show that are on the F rating.
Well, it is.
And we're not talking F troop, we're talking about F double F. Okay.
You're in the upper 1% of human beings. I mean, I can tell you as somebody, I've written some books, and people come along and they say, well, I'm gonna write a book, and almost nobody does, but you did, George. So no matter what, when they lay you down to sleep someday, you'll be one of the few that did.
Well, yeah, and like I said, not many people that you know. I don't know many people that wrote a book. I only probably know maybe two people that I know that wrote a book. And one person that we know wrote a book about some mundane stuff that wasn't even autobiography. Another person that didn't even write an autobiography of it. So I don't really per se know of anybody that has done an autobiography of their life. But then again, I don't know pretty much of anybody would have the same amount of interest or had the same amount of interest or the same amount of stuff that had transpired in their time on this earth. Now, I mean, right now, I do live a boring life. I do live a boring life. But through the whole life, it has been an interesting ride. It's been a very, very interesting ride.
Well, you know they say, George, when it comes to being an author, and this is what you're proving with this book, is that, there are no such things as boring lives, just boring storytellers. And, almost think about any great movie or any great book, the premise of it might be kind of boring, but it's how the story is told. I mean, The Taxi Driver is about a guy that drives around the town in a taxi. The movie, or the book, Heart of Darkness is Joseph Conrad. I mean, it's a very pedestrian kind of long book, but with some exciting moments. But it's how it's written. So
Right.
I'm sure your audience is going to enjoy your book because a lot of love and care went into it.
Yeah, no, a lot of labor burning the midnight oil, burning the midnight
A
oil.
lot of awful jokes.
Yeah, Casey, tell. Is there a delay in this picture? Because I feel like this thing is not running right.
There might be. I looked at the picture briefly, and it looks like it might be running a little late. I still think it's coming through.
Is it coming through? You don't see any delay?
I don't think so. Oh, I mean, it might be delayed just because of the way, I mean, it just might be second behind, but I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm coming through, and I'm like the words are coming out of my mouth that are being synced in with my mouth. The right words coming out of my mouth being synced at the right
I
time.
think you're in a Godzilla movie.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, here Godzilla, we must run. We see Godzilla, we must run. I don't know, but it seems like that's what it's doing on this computer. It seems like it's being delayed on this computer.
Well,
I don't know, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. So yes, to reiterate, yes, it was a pure labor of love. It was an enjoyment. It was labor of love. It's an enjoyment, and when it comes out and when it gets finally put on the stands, it's going to be the shield against these trolls and these malcontents. It's going to be a shield against these trolls. Now I know that you got to get early morning and got to get up early in the morning. So do I. So tell me. I want you to tell me what you think about these people in your own words.
well, I mean, I think anytime there's trolling going on, it seems like it's not a good use of anybody's time. It's not and it seems like I used to be George, a high school principal, and there used to be a fair amount of that going on in high schools where I used to be principal. I was principal as a pretty young man.
Right.
I can tell you what, that kind of shit, it can start. What happens is it's like pack mentality, and it can get worse and blossom, etc. So
Well,
yeah,
these people are not even creative. These trolls that I have are not even creative. They have gone beyond the limits of actually prank. Prank is prank is a prank. It's gone beyond the levels of being a prank. And in your own words, what you have seen. I mean, is it safe to
right.
say you've seen some vile, disturbing things?
Well, it's upsetting, and I know you're upset by it. And that's what Look, what matters is how the person receiving it is feeling, and then none of that is good. And I know that without getting into the whole situation, there's the loss of life, and that I've experienced that with people close to me, and I've lost people close to me, and it's painful when people. That there's generally better things to be done with your life, that's for sure, especially with the talent you got to entertain people and have fun, and
That's what we
that's what
do.
you should do.
It's slowing down. So just when we do a video like this and I get you on, it's freezing up. The visual is freezing up, and I hate technical difficulties. And this is the second time it's done this when I've had you on. You are we wanted to do this more because I wanted you to share your thoughts and all that. You are, I mean, basically, you are an author. You write books for a living. So you have pretty much inspired me, or you got me. Well, I was going to do it anyway, but you've been a supporter and been a supporter of this book that I'm going to write, and then well, I've already written, and you're waiting just like I am now because the publishers have got to put their final blessings on it. And once the publisher puts their final blessing on it, then it's on the book stands. So I'm hoping.
It's a tough process, George. A hard part for you ahead is letting it go for the final, in the final moments. You know, like actually letting it go because it's hard. You want to hang on to the book forever.
Right. Well, it's the nuts and bolts. I mean, again, my life right now is kind of boring. My life right now is kind of boring, but in my whole life in general has been a movie. My whole life in general has been a movie that you would see in a Warner Brothers flick, maybe, or maybe a porn flick. I know, well, a porn flick, but you know, it's been a real ride. It's been a real ride throughout, and I have had some downtime, or I've had some down moments and whatnot, down moments, and I plan to get back into where I was. I plan to get back into where I was. But that being said, though, you ironically had asked that question, and then I realized because I was very reluctant, and when I saw that old email, I said, you know, I'm going to talk to this guy briefly, and then when I talked to you, you had no idea the veracity of what this was all about. You thought it was a joke that I was on. I was in on the joke, and really and truly, I wasn't in on the joke. Really and truly, it was a really screwed up situation. Nobody would know. See, people think that I'm in on this, and they think I'm in on this, and I'm not. It is a struggle that I've had to deal with. It is an ongoing episode, if you will, that I had to keep dealing with by these numbskulls and these imbeciles that keep trying to cause problems. These numbskulls and imbeciles that keep causing problems. And like I said, you know, I'm not a shy person. I don't mince my words. I'm a kind of person that lays it on the line, and I'll tell you exactly what time it is. I lay it on the line, and I'll tell you exactly what time it is. These people are self-loathing son of a bitches. That's what they are. They're self-loathing son of a bitches. Period. And that says it all by itself. Nobody is going to continually talk about something that they don't like. Obviously, they like what I do, or they're enamored by what I do. If you don't like something, you just eventually move on. But these people have been stuck on what I do, and obviously they secretly like it, or they just want to they want to just ruin my reputation, and that is the problem with what they've done. They have singed and ruined my reputation throughout, and now I am going to do something, and I plan on doing something. Might not be tomorrow, might not be the next day, but this is going to happen, and this time it's going to happen the right way. But anyway, but yes, so you see with your own eyes exactly what's going on.
Well, it's true, and I think that
It's real.
yeah,
It's not a game.
you know, right. Well, well, you know what? Though, in the social media world, you look on there, and you and I follow politics, George, and talk about it all the time. But like the guys that voted for Trump, there's no a lot of them. There's nothing you could. I mean, when as soon as Biden came in, they're calling him a pedophile. They're launching pictures, and
Yeah.
it's like famous people. And I always tell you this, and you may not agree with it, but famous people have their portion of
but I'm not a
Well,
politician, and I don't consider myself a celebrity.
well,
No, I really don't. I mean, I'm not a politician. I don't see myself ever running for president, even though
do
I
you think
might.
if you were in Hollywood and they gave you one of those blocks, that you would put your ass on there or your hands?
Well, I'd say I put my ass on there and say you can kiss it. But I do not consider myself a celebrity. Never have considered myself a celebrity. Let's be real about it. People, you ask these people. You see, I'm not. I don't have. I mean, I do have a big head, but I don't have a big head like these non-speaking role actors that think because they had 15 seconds on a Bruce Willis movie. And I think you know who I'm going with this. That they have a big head and they're actor celebrity because they had 15 seconds of fame eating out of a cereal bowl watching on a Bruce Willis flick. When you were to ask Bruce Willis today and name that person by name, if he knows him, and he would have no idea who that person is.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, who knows what motivates people? Like Danny Bonaducci was on a kid show, and then for whatever reason, they just the Brady kids, that one Brady guy got a show. I mean, who knows what people just remember the damnedest things, and all of a sudden they remember. So I think that you're more well known than you know, and then there's stuff that comes with it. So I think what's going to happen is, though, that I think the public realizes this, that they're going to buy your book. You're going to if you weren't didn't have a certain amount of fame, you wouldn't be writing a book about your life, because who would in order for a book like that to work, people have to read about you who don't know you.
Well, here's the deal. Here's the deal. I think my life and what the experiences that I've experienced in my life, mainly past tense, I can't make it up. I mean, I couldn't make it up if I wanted to.
Right,
I couldn't make up these things or make up the story of my past, even if I
right.
wanted to. So I think that rather than that tune my own horn and go toot toot, and I'll say toot toot because I will toot my own horn, by the way. But I think that I have experienced and I've gone through a lot of stuff within my past that can predicate an interesting book. Obviously, the publishing company thought so. And you and I had no, and we talked about this, and we did not believe that they were going to actually publish my book. You and I had talked about this, and we talked about the different ways.
I thought I didn't want to be negative, but I was honestly, if I was a betting man, I would have said you're going to get rejected. Not
Yeah,
going
and their ratio is 25%. This company's ratio of publishing books is 25%. Very low into what they normally do. We didn't believe it. I didn't even believe it. I know it's an interesting book because I've lived it, and I thought it was an interesting book enough. They obviously thought so too, that it's an interesting book. That's why they're publishing it. And unbeknownst to me, they're doing it. And shockingly enough, they are doing and publishing the book, which I am pleasantly surprised. Don't get me wrong. I'm pleasantly pleased. But you were shocked, weren't you? You were shocked.
Yeah, I really was, because I've known lots of people that have had manuscripts rejected and everything else. So I truly do think it's something to be proud of, and you should be proud of the fact that you got it done. And that's why you and I will continue to disagree about your reach, because I don't think they would publish it if your reach on TV wasn't more than you're imagining.
I don't think these people in the publishing company ever heard of me.
I think they Googled you. I honestly do, and I think they looked online.
They Googled me, so that's how they decided to do it. I don't think they know who I am.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe they did. Who knows? Who knows? But I don't know. But it is what it is, and it is, and once it's on the stands, it's on the stands.
Yours will be the final word.
Yeah, exactly. It's the only word. It's the final word. It's the correct narrative. It's the only narrative. I still feel like I'm moving in slow mode. Are you? I still feel like I'm moving in slow mode. Are you? Is it moving in slow mode or is it flowing?
Oh, let me look.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm moving in slow mode here. And unfortunately, it does that. What did you see in your with your screen?
Yeah.
Is it moving in slow mode or is it flowing?
Hold on. Now you're like a bit behind, but we can hear you.
Yeah, so it's a bit behind, so you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth, so to speak.
I do, brother.
You hear the words that are coming out of my mouth. All right, well that's good. That's good to hear.
Indeed. Well, hey, GG, I gotta run, but I'm glad to be on here with you, man.
Well, look, I appreciate it, and you've got my back, right?
I sure do, buddy.
All right.
Talk soon, man.
All right, Casey, I appreciate it, and I appreciate your time, and we will talk to you. I'm going to be on for another few minutes, so enjoy it.
Yeah, well, I've got a, on my way out also, I've got a quick clip from Clarissa sent, and I'll pass that along.
All right. Well, I will get the massage oil and the mastorial oil, and enjoy it thoroughly with one hand.
See you, bud.
All right. Take care. Take care. All right. That was Casey. Casey, one of my fans that watches the show and watches my show religiously. That's Casey. Now, if anybody's watching out tonight, I want to know. I want to know if I'm coming out clear